Heyo, what's good guys? Another video here. Today we got why American healthcare is the worst in the developed world. This should be interesting. As you guys, well, as some of you guys know, we've been going on a little side quest on this channel about just me learning about other countries and what life is like in other places. So when I saw this on my recommendations, I was like, hey yo, this is interesting, so I'm gonna watch it. And if I'm gonna watch it, I might as well watch it with you guys, so that way you guys can add things in, or you know, maybe I can explain certain things. I'm only 19 years old, so I don't have a whole lot of experience with the American healthcare personally, but people I know and stuff, you know. So hey, you know, maybe we can teach each other something. I don't know. Let's just get to the fucking video.
This episode is brought to you by CuriosityStream. Get free access to Nebula, the new streaming platform built by and...
Nah, listen. I ain't got no money. Y'all ain't promoting your shit on here.
I wonder if you could tell me how expensive you think calling an ambulance out to your location is in America.
Okay, is there a price for that?
Yes.
Jeez, $100? $100?
$2.5 grand.
Wait, hold up. 2K? Time. 2K? What the fuck? Wow, I can't believe that. That's actually... Oh, we're not even a minute into this video yet, and I'm already... I didn't think it was that expensive. Like, I knew it was, like... I don't know why. I thought it was, like, $200 bucks. 2K? Fuck's sake.
For what? Why?
They billed our insurance company over $3 million for the cost of transplant. I don't know what people do without insurance. How could you even begin to pay that?
Yeah.
She said the bill is up to $80,000 already, and she said, Mrs. Weinkauf, I hope you realize that you're responsible for this bill. I thought, what am I going to do? I've worked my whole life. Is this how my life is going to end?
In a previous episode, I briefly touched on the failures of the American healthcare system. That section of the video prompted all sorts of responses in the comments, mostly from Europeans who were horrified to learn that Americans have to pay for an ambulance ride to the hospital, but also a handful of brave patriots who claim, without evidence, that the American healthcare system is the best in the world.
Okay, nah. Nah, listen. Okay? I love my country. I will always love my country. It's home. It's where my family lives. It's where everybody I care... Well, not everybody, but a lot of the people I care about live... Like, I will always love the USA, and what I don't understand why people can't, like, say, hey, listen, I still love my country, but we can improve on this part, we can improve here, we can improve here. Like, saying that, hey, this about our country sucks, doesn't mean you dislike the country, it just means you want to see it be better. Like, that's dumb. That's genuinely stupid.
This video is for those people. Let's jump right in. I'm going to throw a bunch of statistics at you, and then we'll look at the root cause of the problem.
Also, another thing I wanted to touch on is, you notice how shocked that guy was? Like, to me, that's shocking. Like, even though I've talked to you guys, like, I should be more conditioned to not being surprised by his surprise because of this YouTube channel and, you know, how I've been talking with you guys privately, publicly on the channel, like, I'm somewhat used to you guys being surprised, but it's still in my head is like, it's crazy that people are surprised by that. Like, that's how we think. Like, we don't realize, I'm saying we as in the general Americans, we don't realize how fucked it actually is with the healthcare.
America spends more money per capita on healthcare than any other nation on Earth.
Yep.
You would think that this expenditure would guarantee the best care in the world. That is not the case. In fact, despite being the most expensive healthcare system on Earth, consuming over 16% of our GDP, it's one of, if not the least effective in the developed world. We spend over $10,000 per capita on healthcare, and not only is the quality of care subpar, we don't even cover everybody. Compare this to places like Germany, who pay drastically less per capita and guarantee coverage to all their citizens. There were over 27 million uninsured Americans in 2018. And that number will have skyrocketed in recent months, thanks to the millions of layoffs across the country. Even before the epidemic, we had more uninsured and underinsured citizens than any other developed nation. In addition to not covering a large portion of the population, even those with excellent, by American standards, health insurance struggle to pay medical bills. Over 25% of insured people reported having difficulty paying for the exorbitant cost of their treatment. Of this group, 63% had to pay most or all of their savings to cover the medical bills, and 42% had to get a second job. Life-saving drugs in America often cost 10 times what they cost in other countries. For example, in Canada...
Why is that? Like, is it just because they can charge more, so they do? Like, what is the reason that the drugs cost more here than they do in Canada, for example, or the UK or Germany? Like, what is the reasoning behind that? I hope he gets into that, but that's something that would definitely be interesting to, if anybody knows in the comments, to fill me in about.
Of their savings to cover the medical bills, and 42% had to get a second job. Life-saving drugs in America often cost 10 times what they cost in other countries. For example, in Canada, one vial of insulin costs $32. In the United States, the same drug from the same factory costs $300. And that's not even an extreme example. Take the HIV drug Truvada. In Australia, it costs just $8. In the United States, it costs $2,000, despite US taxpayers footing the bill for its...
$2,000 to $8 to God damn! What? That's fucked. That's God. Well, I know. You know, if I was ever gonna be a fucking criminal, I know what fucking business I'm getting into. Shit. What the fuck though? That's wild. That's okay.
Example, take the HIV drug Truvada. In Australia, it costs just $8. In the United States, it costs $2,000, despite US taxpayers footing the bill for its development. Every year, over 500,000 people go bankrupt trying to pay their medical bills. In a country where 40% of the population can't afford a surprise $400 expense, an ambulance ride to the hospital will cost you more than twice that amount. And all of this is happening in the richest country on earth. If we have the resources and we're so...
You know what's insane too is the amount of people that think it would be more expensive on taxes and all that to have just a half-decent healthcare system. Like, is wild, because even people who have very good healthcare with their job, the healthcare gets taken out of your paycheck. So, for example, somebody I know who's now retired, who I'm not going to give names out just to protect people's privacy, he had a very, very good job, right? Now, out of his paycheck, which he was, say, making, I don't know, easily $8,000 in a month, right? Because he had a very high-paying job. That's a random number, but somewhere around that. Out of that $8,000, they might have been taking out $2-3 on his health care. So he has everything covered. He's all clear. But he's taking out $2-3 out of his paycheck. So that $8,000 goes down to possibly like $5,000. Compared to if you just pay a tiny bit more in taxes, which is not going to be no extra $2,000 in taxes for every person. You're making more money because even if you already have a job that covers your health care, now that's not coming out of your paycheck, so now they're giving you your entire check. So, like, I don't understand why people have issues with that. You know? I just don't get it. It makes no sense to me.
Prize $400 expense, an ambulance ride to the hospital will cost you more than twice that amount. And all of this is happening in the richest country on earth. If we have the resources and we're so much better than all the other countries, why is our healthcare system so broken? Here's the thing, it's not broken. It's functioning exactly as you'd expect it to. America's healthcare system is for profit. That means instead of providing care because it's the ethical thing to do, they only do it because there's a big check involved. Back in the 30s, Blue Cross and Blue Shield were the two main health insurance providers in the US. In those days...
Actually, let me ask this, because this is something that I've been wondering for a while. Doctors in other countries, are they as rich as they are in the US? Like, do the British doctors or the, German doctors, like, are they on the same financial level as the American doctors? Because I'm genuinely curious, like, who is this for-profit really helping? Because I have a strong feeling if you've done all the work to become a doctor that the majority of doctors are doing it because they want to help people. Because if you just want to make money, there's a lot easier ways to make money than to become a doctor.
Because it's the ethical thing to do, they only do it because there's a big check involved. Back in the 30s, Blue Cross and Blue Shield were the two main health insurance providers in the US. In those days, they operated as nonprofits and wouldn't turn anyone away for any reason. Then, after World War II, employers started offering health insurance as a benefit, and between 1940 and 1955, the percentage of insured Americans jumped from 10% to over 60%. This new demand for health insurance caught the eye of many business people, and the for-profit healthcare industry was born. By 1951, big names like Aetna and Cigna were major players in the industry, which continued to grow through the 70s and 80s. In the 80s, the country began to see its first for-profit hospitals, operated by large investors who owned multi-hospital chains. By 1981, 1 in 7 hospitals in the US was for-profit. Suddenly, medical bills became a lot longer and more convoluted. Every little thing became an itemized expense, from tissues to plastic cups to being able to hold your baby after it's born.
Yeah,
The
that's outrageous too. They charge you to hold your own damn kid, bruh. Like, the fuck? Like, I didn't even know about that. Like, that was, when I found about that was wild. Like, I had to actually go and confirm with my parents. Like, did y'all have to pay to hold me? Like, that's crazy. Like, man. Yeah, that's wild.
Hospital's transition from philanthropy to corporation was complete. This is not normal in other countries. America had taken the intensely cruel step of taking something sacred, the health and well-being of its citizens, and slapping a price tag on it. With this commodification of health came unsurprising side effects. Average American life expectancy is lower than other wealthy countries and has actually begun to decrease in recent years compared to other countries slowly increasing. The US has the highest infant and maternal mortality rates of any developed country. The US has higher rates of medical errors than other countries. Adults in most other comparable countries have quicker access to a doctor or nurse when they need care, contrary to what American healthcare advocates would have you believe. To make a long story short, in just about every study on the effectiveness of healthcare systems in developed nations, America scores very poorly.
I'm not gonna lie, the part about other countries having quicker access to a doctor kind of surprises me. For the pure fact of, I'd imagine because less Americans go to the hospital compared to people in other countries, because people in other countries are kind of programmed, you're sick, go to the hospital. You're sick. Whereas we're programmed like, you're sick, let's see if it passes over. We don't need to spend all that money. Like, let's toughen it out, right? Like, at least that's how I'm programmed. That's how a lot of people I know are programmed, right? So it kind of surprises me to hear that even while I'm positive that other countries have a higher percentage of the population going to hospitals, that it's such a quicker response for other places to be, getting seen by hospitals or doctors. My bad. My English just fucked off, but you get what I'm trying to say.
Most of the time at the very bottom of the list, and other nations are taking notice.
I'm surprised Canada's below the average, because like when the US thinks of places that are very high on healthcare, one of the first places most Americans would think of would be Canada. So that's surprising for me that Canada ain't even that good.
Towards the beginning of the coronavirus epidemic, one university in Norway urged its students to come home if they were studying in countries with poorly developed health systems, such as the US. Part of the problem is the American obsession with streamlining or optimization. Anything that doesn't immediately increase profits has to go. Take, for example, the practice of so-called just-in-time delivery of essential equipment such as ventilators. Instead of having an emergency stockpile, including personal protective equipment such as masks and gloves, these items are instead delivered only when the need arises. The idea is to reduce overhead, but in reality it leaves us totally unprepared and under-equipped for a national pandemic. That's why we see pictures of doctors and nurses wearing trash bags, because their hospitals haven't provided adequate protective equipment, and just to be safe, they're firing people who post those kinds of pictures.
That's insane. Time out. First of all, if I was a doctor, this is probably why, thank God I'm way too dumb to ever become a doctor, because if I was a doctor, ain't no way I'm getting myself into a trash bag that just might maybe protect me from catching some kind of crazy disease. Hell no. And then you want to tell me that the people who are like, hey, yo, this ain't right, are getting oh, fuck no. Hell, that's bullshit. Hey, listen, if anybody is watching this video who has been fired, y'all need to, like, all come together and start a straight uprising, because that's bullshit. Like, y'all got my support for any kind of uprising that y'all do, because you need to, straight up. Like, that's bullshit.
That's why we see pictures of doctors and nurses wearing trash bags, because their hospitals...
Anyone who wouldn't support this uprising, if you're subscribed to me, straight up, unsubscribe. Like, nah, you gotta go, because that's dumb. Normally, I'm like, hey, yo, believe whatever you want, but nah, that's dumb.
Haven't provided adequate protective equipment, and just to be safe, they're firing people who post those kinds of pictures. To their credit, the CDC was planning to address the national shortage of ventilators, but the company to whom they had given the contract was bought out by a larger company, who canceled the project because it wasn't going to be profitable enough. And of course that larger company's name is Covidian, because the architects clearly put an intern in charge of our simulation. I could spend all day listing off instances of absurdly high medical bills, but at the end of the day...
Oh my god, I shouldn't even laugh at that, but what are the odds of that shit? That's fucked. Covidian? Really? Yo, the simulation made an error there. Ain't no way.
Some people in America will still defend the practice of for-profit healthcare. Maybe the best way to get through to these people isn't to show them the bills, but to show them what people in other, saner countries think of the bills. So here you go.
See, the thing is, this is what I see a lot, because since I've been doing this, I've asked around to friends, and the majority of day-to-day Americans, we support getting the healthcare system fixed, because at the end of the day it benefits everyone. Even if, as I was saying before, as an example by somebody who I know, since people who know me in real life watch these videos, I'm not saying any names, like, it'd even benefit if you're in a situation like that person is, because you get more money from your paycheck. And then people are like, well, we got to be careful because socialism's a slippery slope. But it's like, it's not even about socialism. It's about what is better for the average person. Common sense answers. Common sense says, yes, healthcare is better for the average person. Even if you're in a situation where it won't affect you. Maybe you don't care about the money taken off your paycheck. You still care about somebody who it would benefit. So it still would benefit you. And it's like, people want to talk about socialism when they're fucking on an iPhone drinking their Starbucks. Shout out to Chris Webby, by the way. That's Chris Webby lyrics. Like, it's outrageous.
Ambulance call out, how much do you think that costs?
Zero payment.
Zero payment?
Yeah, zero payment.
No. Because $2,500.
For real?
An inhaler.
$100.
Like,
Yeah, you're pretty close, it's a bit more.
120.
250 to 350.
For an inhaler?
So 2 EpiPens,
crazy.
how much do you reckon they are?
$80.
600.
God
$600?
damn! Look at his face!
Inhaler.
So 2 EpiPens, how much do you reckon they are?
$80.
600.
Bro's got the YouTube thumbnail face. He's mind blown. Dude is mind blown. God damn. It's crazy for me. Like, I'm laughing at it because I can either laugh or get angry. And as a person, I'd rather laugh than get mad. But, like, in reality, it's like seeing these people's shock to it wouldn't even, like, hurt us. It would surprise us. I say us as in, like, the average American. Like, I'm largely desensitized because I've been watching a lot of these videos. But the average American who hasn't been watching these videos, they go back in time 6-7 months ago for me. If I would have saw this video, I would have been mind blown that the people are surprised, because I would have imagined that everywhere else is similar. I would imagine that they were better, but I would have imagined they were still similar. I wouldn't have imagined literally everything is free. Like, that's crazy.
$600? What? Why?
100, 200?
Dollars.
Yeah.
The average is about 10 grand. It can go up to 30,000.
10 grand? For a baby?
It's okay to laugh, it's a funny video. But these are the types of reaction you get when you explain to anyone in a first world country besides the US just how screwed up our healthcare system is.
I remember I freaked out at that one too when I first heard that. Like, yeah, fucking hell.
We're not paying these exorbitant fees for quality care. We're paying for executive bonuses, shareholder value, and lucrative contracts. Pharmaceutical and medical device companies can charge whatever they want, and the US government will never step in. We're one of the only nations on Earth that doesn't regulate the cost of drugs and medical supplies, and companies negotiate directly with hospitals and insurers to get the best terms. Not best for the patient, best for them. Drug costs in America are many times higher than in any other country. Why? Because that's how it works in a for-profit system. The dollar holds infinitely more value to these corporations than human well-being. The needs of the people are secondary to the profit motive. The American healthcare system is a system that relies on people getting sick and coming in for treatment, which is why we don't see any investment in public health initiatives. A program like Medicare for All would likely solve this and every other health problem produced by the coronavirus pandemic. Everyone would have been able to see a doctor and get tested, which would have given us more accurate data about the illness and its spread. Hospitals wouldn't have to waste energy dealing with private insurers and fighting them on every little thing. And with the profit motive removed from the healthcare equation, the government would have an incentive to prioritize public health to prevent people from getting sick instead of counting on it. That in turn would make us better prepared for the next pandemic. But remember, the system that we have isn't broken. It's functioning exactly as it's meant to. Why do we pay so much money for the worst care in the developed world? And more importantly, why do we put up with it? If you'd like to learn more about the virus...
In my opinion, I'm gonna answer this in my opinion. My opinion, the reason we put up with it is because they've done it slowly over time, so we didn't realize that we were getting fucked over so much. And I felt the majority don't. Like, that's why, you know, I always rock this hoodie that says wolves are among sheep, because that's what it is. It's a bunch of sheep. And, you know, the sheep don't even realize they're sheep. Like, they don't understand how fucked shit is. You know, even, and I'm not throwing shade at these people either. Like, you know, I was just like them a couple months ago until I started, thanks to you guys, really learning about this stuff. And I still got a lot to learn, so I'm not saying I'm done, but it's crazy. So the reason that they get away with it is because people don't realize. And the way to fix it is show the masses, show people. I don't know how to do that, but when the majority realizes just how much they're getting fucked over, if there's some kind of uprising, like, the government, at the end of the day, they do not want a full-blown uprising with the citizens. Like, they don't want that. They do not want another civil war. That's the last thing any government wants. The government would much rather give us a half-decent fucking healthcare system than fight with its citizens. Fact. So, I think that's what needs to happen. Will it happen? I don't know. But I think that is what needs to happen. There needs to be an uprising. To, like, slam it through the government's head that shit's not gonna work.
Exactly as it's meant to. Why do we pay so much money for the worst care in the developed world?
In order for that to happen, people just gotta start learning. Like, they gotta start learning about this shit. And I think with how the internet's going, and because in reality the internet's still a relatively new thing in the world, like, with how the internet's going and all that, I do think it will happen. I don't know when it will happen, but I think, you know, if I was born 20 years ago, me at 19 never would have learned about all this. I just wouldn't have. If it wasn't for the fact of me making this YouTube channel, I never would have learned about all this. It just never would have happened. So, like, I just think that's the solution, is just, you know, putting it out there more. Shoving it down people's throats damn near. Like, if you can shove down all the other cancel culture bullshit down everybody's throat, then you can sure as hell shove this crap down everybody's throat, right? We just all gotta come together and show people.
And more importantly, why do we put up with it? If you'd like to learn more about the virus that made it clear just how ill-prepared the US was for a pandemic, I highly recommend you check...
I'm pretty sure this is over, so if it's not over, I'll go ahead and just watch the rest of this just to make sure, and I'll cut to, you know, the outro. Alright, yeah, we're all good. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything, because that's the last thing I want. Either way, give me a fat ass like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell, click all. You know how YouTube works. And let me know your thoughts. Let me know other videos like this you'd like me to watch. Just let me know what you're thinking, what your opinions are. You know, my YouTube channel, whether you agree with me or not, will always be a free place to say whatever the fuck you want to say. So speak your mind in the comments below. Maybe we'll talk. Maybe I won't see your comment. Hopefully I do. And have a great day. If you made it to the end, comment Duracell. Hold up. Little bonus clip if you're here at the end. I was going to scroll through the comments. Imagine if Breaking Bad had been set in the UK or pretty much any other developed nation. Mr. White, I'm sorry to say you have cancer. Your treatment starts next month. The end. That's a goated comment. That comment is goated. If you made it to the end and you see this little bit, just put a goat emoji in the fucking comments. Bye. With